I'll call your names. There's two podiums, one on either side of the room. Would you please take those podiums as I call your names? First is James Goverlos, President and CEO of Our Education Foundation, and Charmaine Postal, President of Palm Beach County PTA.
Be forewarned, I brought visual aids. Good evening. I'll be brief tonight. I'm looking for my clock. You're throwing me. I don't know where my clock is. 3.5 items to report on tonight, and I first want to commend the school board through your chairman, Mr. Barbieri. I want to commend Dr. Fenoy, Ed Tierney, and Claudia Shea, who took point as soon as the wind stopped blowing with Dorian. I mean, think, Frank, literally the next day you called me up and said, we need to do something. We want the foundation to get moving. And the next day, Dr. Fenoy and Ed Tierney got involved, and there's been a district-wide effort to do really a two-pronged approach. One is the emergency relief. We still have people in the Bahamas whose land and homes is underwater. There is a fundraising campaign going on through GoFundMe right now throughout the district. If you have not yet made your contribution, please go through the district site, make that contribution, as we will be presenting a check to the American Red Cross next Wednesday on behalf of the school district of Palm Beach County. Dr. Fenoy, thank you for your leadership on this. The second prong of the approach you touched on, we're already up to 91 students who have relocated to Palm Beach County. As they come in, the Education Foundation is providing them with a backpack and all the school supplies they need. We've been working closely with the Welcome Center, delivering backpacks every couple of days. And as they become more integrated, Frank, you and I have talked about something hands-on that our students and schools can do, and we're looking for a number of different options there. But again, I commend this district for your immediate response. Next Thursday night, the Education Foundation at Kaiser University's flagship campus will hold our annual Go Teach Grant Awards ceremony. Hopefully you will be able to attend, board members and superintendent. 94 grants totaling $107,000 will be passed out to our Palm Beach County heroic teachers who have done creative and innovative ideas. So that will take place starting at 5:30 at the flagship campus, again, Kaiser University. Please take part in the Go Teach and just see the amazing work done by our teachers. Red Apple Supplies, we've talked about the growth and our planned growth as we try to, at one point in the next 8 years, involve all of our 179 district schools. Last year we were serving 43 schools. I'm proud to say we're on point. We've already onboarded 5 more schools, bringing the total to 48 who are being served at Red Apple. And I can tell you that as of today, and we're only a month and a half into the year, we have already distributed $221,000 in school supplies through Red Apple Supplies to our Title I schools. So I want to congratulate the entire team there. As part of Red Apple Supply, we will be receiving we have received a check of $10,000 from LexisNexis. And they wanted to do something new. They wanted to do a STEM project through Red Apple Supply. Tomorrow, LexisNexis employees are going to be packing up hundreds of these. We've created STEM kits, which will be available through Red Apple Supply. Board Member Andrews, I gave you my word. We're going to make sure that your schools get first crack. These will be available to our Title I schools and eventually to everyone through Red Apple Supply. Frank, Dr. Fenoy, I want you to know the staff you have at Your Ed Foundation. You often say very kind things about me. I just open the door in the morning and I get out of everyone's way. The program director at the Ed Foundation, Jennifer Etheridge, is a former school principal. Teresa Dabrowski, who's our chief engagement officer, is a former public school teacher of 5 years. Jennifer was a principal for, I believe, 10. These ladies not only put these kits together, they also wrote a curriculum and have little task cards. So when the teachers come to Red Apple Supplies, they pick up the kits, they have the curriculum ready-made, they have the task cards ready for the kids, all funded by LexisNexis to encourage STEM education. It's what Your Education Foundation is doing, bringing the business community and looking for new, innovative, creative ways to serve our students. Red Apple Supply is now branching off into STEM, as through a grant with the Ventus Charitable Foundation, we branched off into books last year. Who knows where we'll go tomorrow? The sky is the limit. Ladies and gentlemen, we are Your Education Foundation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gawalos. You and your team doing a tremendous job for our students in our schools. Thank you so much. Mr. Post.
Good afternoon, Board Chair, Board members, Superintendent, and staff. Good evening, if it's not afternoon. Palm Beach County had 2 events since we have last met. One on August 26th here at the district, where some of our North and Central Region local unit members were here, where we met with Deputy Superintendent Keith Oswald and a couple of members of our board members. informal meet and greet. September 14th, this past Saturday, it was a successful event that started with the greetings and presentations, our first general meeting and training at the Safe Schools Institute down in Boca Raton, Florida. We had greetings and presentations from Florida PTA President Linda Kirshner, Angie Atwell from the Department of Education School Improvement Bureau, Eric Stern, Sandy Goodman from U.S. Census Bureau, and Vern Pickup Crawford from Schoolhouse Consulting. Several local units participated in the local unit showcase, and vendors had the opportunity to offer programs and fundraising opportunities to our local units. 2 workshop sessions covered topics for potential PTA members to our season officers. Topics covered included the good, bad, and the ugly about PTA, programs, scholarships, grants, and advocacy efforts, as well as responsibilities as a nonprofit organization. In addition, Florida PTA, in partnership with the Florida Department of Education, held a From Report to Results, also known as Data for Good, workshop to explain the importance of the new Florida report card. The event ended with lunch from our event sponsor, Papa John's. Our next event is January 14th, on Tuesday, January 14th. So for our Central and North region, as well as our Glade Central, who are looking to have parent engagement at their schools, Rolling Green Elementary will be the next parent engagement meeting, community meeting. So I'm going to throw out a few numbers, and I look like I have a good time. 36, 13, 5, 0, 1. 36 schools in the South region, 13 in the Central, 5 in the North, 0 in the Glades, 1 in the district. Oftentimes we hear PTA. Who are we? What do we do? And we insist on having a seat or bringing our own chairs to the table when it relates to children. Our mission, making every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering our families and communities to advocate for all children. Traditional, charter, home, early childhood, juvenile justice system, all children. At the County Council, what do? We're a direct link to Florida PTA, National PTA. Hint, if you didn't know what National PTA, the National Standards of Excellence. We have been around for 120 years, and still today, we're standing strong. We are, every child, one voice. So what did those numbers that I previously called? Those are the numbers of schools that we represent in this district. That didn't seem like a lot, right? Now here's another set of numbers. 19, 33, 25, 11, 39. 19 in the South, 33 in the Central, 25 in the North, 11 in the Glades, 39 district charters. Those numbers represent schools that do not have an active parent engagement group in their schools. They may have some parent involvement, but do not have active parent engagement groups in their schools, bringing the resources, advocating for the children. That is how many local units. Our children are all children. Our goal is to ensure that every school have parent engagement by the end of this school year. With parent engagement, parent involvement to some, transparency, accountability, and fiduciary responsibility, I stand here on behalf of the County Council, the body that can charter any parent groups, and ask the board and those around in this room, does every school have parent engagement? If the answer is no, email me, talk to me. Don't be afraid to call me. The ask to the board this evening is that the school board consider also policies similar to the ones in other larger districts in the state of Florida, like Miami, Broward, Orange, Hillsborough, and Duval, and form a policy regarding parent groups, mainly PTAs, PTA SAs, or other independent groups.
Go ahead, finish.
Thank
Sure.
you. For their longstanding history of advocacy, check and balances, support, fiduciary responsibilities, and national standards of excellence. I look forward to working with you all on something like this would be and something like this would be very beneficial in Palm Beach County, and again, ensuring every school have parent engagement. Thank you. The first person we reached out to, I just want to say a big thank you to Mr. Barbieri, Chairman Barbieri, for having that meeting with me, and we look forward to having a meeting with all of the board members, and I'll travel wherever I need to go, as far north and as far west to the Pahokee Glades area to meet with you on how we can ensure that parent engagement is in every school. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Would Margaret Bagley, President and CEO of Communities and Schools, come to one podium, and Chuck Ridley, President of Unify, come to the other, please? Go ahead.
Good evening, Chairman Barbieri, board members, Dr. Fenoy, district administration, staff, and guests. My name is Margaret Bagley, and I am honored to serve as the CEO of Communities and Schools of Palm Beach County. As you know, our mission for the last 35 years has been to surround students with a community of support, empowering them to stay in school and achieve in life. Behind me stands my community of support, the board of directors. We have Meyer Haberman, chairman of the board, Renata Espinoza, vice chair, Dr. Glenda Garrett, secretary, Larry Burke, treasurer, members Michelle Blackstock, Clemmy Christie, and of course Mrs. Andrews, who sits on the board. We've come today, we wanted to express our gratitude for your support and assistance in expanding our evidence-based program into 7 new schools through a partnership grant. Through that grant, we now have trained and placed 7 new graduation coaches in those schools, providing services to students struggling with academics, attendance, and behavior. That places a total of 12 Communities in Schools graduation coaches in Title I high school and middle schools within the district. Again, thank you for supporting our Communities in Schools program. We look forward to seeing great results and hopefully expanding further in the future. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Thank you for what you do for our students. Thank you very much.
And don't forget, we'll be there to help with any of the Bahamian students that come in as well.
All right. Thank you.
There.
I understand Mr. Ridley's, Mr. Ridley, okay.
Superintendent, board chair, board members, my name is Chuck Ridley. I seem to have made it in time as opposed to on time. As some folk call that an African tradition. Maybe no one in this room. Mr. Donald, my name is Chuck Ridley, and I have the privilege of being the chair of Unify. Unify exists for one purpose: to build power for Black people and the Black community. I'm out of breath because I ran from my car. So as I try to catch my breath, it is my understanding that on tonight's agenda is the superintendent's evaluation, and Unify feels that it's important to give our reflections as well as the reflections from the Black community of our expectations of the superintendent and the school district. Superintendent Fenoy, we realize that you embrace a high-performing school district. In fact, we understand that you value the vision of this district, and quote, "The school district of Palm Beach County envisions a dynamic, collaborative, multicultural community where education and lifelong learnings are valued and supported, and all learners reach a high potential and succeed in a global economy." These are great words, board members. However, Dr. Fenoy, it is your responsibility to turn these words into deeds and actions that make sure that all children perform at high levels. In order to come here and share with this board and you, Dr. Fenoy, Unify looked at 5 areas: effective and relevant instructions, high school readiness, talent development, high performance culture, board and community relationships. Sir, you've done a good job. Proud of the job you've done. Yeah, I know. This is Unify. And once again, this is an A-rated school district. Now, what that means, I'm not quite sure of. I know what an A means, and I would rather have an A than something else. And when I look at the performance matrix, when I look at how we've done around reading levels at third grade, high school readiness, graduation, and in most of those areas, we did see some improvement. Starting over 19, if you take from fiscal year 15 to 2019, we saw some substantial growth. But we know that we got problems, right? I don't have to tell you that, you know it. And that's what we're going to hold you accountable for. We know black students aren't achieving nearly at the rate they can. We're not blaming anyone for it, but we know that the institution itself still suffers from structural racism, and we have to find ways to work through it and not ignore it and realize that the outcomes that must change starts with you and this board. You also have an ambitious plan to develop talent in the school district. And for the most part, I see that working, particularly as it relates to your administrative and your instructional staff. But there are two places that we would like to see improvement. We would like to see all of your staff, all 23,000 employees. Is that me? Wow. I surely missed something on here. We got to do better. Black children have to do better. We got to figure out the talent piece for the custodians as well as principals. We got to figure out fairness and equity for all programs, whether a principal in Boca Raton or a food service worker in any school district in elementary school. We got to treat them fair. We got to figure out this African and African American infusion piece. We got to understand that the school, when we talk about community engagement, that is larger than the business. You know that we have a very active and engaged black community. We got to get them in there somehow. And that's the area we're going to ask you to improve in. But for the most part, boom shakalaka.
Thank you, Mr. Ridley. Will take us to agenda item speakers. We have three. I understand that they are going to be